Hi, and welcome to my channel. For those of you that knew, I'm Larry Olson, and what I do is I share information based on neuroscience and cognitive psychology. And what it does is it offers brain hacks to allow us to take half the time off of what would ordinarily take 4 hours. We're now able to do it in 2, for instance. And what I wanted to talk about is how to go about, and let me ask you this before I share that. Have you ever given it all at work only to find yourself exhausted by the time you get home at the end of the day? Well, if that's the case, then maybe you want to take a listen to this one, because what we're going to talk about is how we turn obstacles into opportunities. It's interesting when I ask this question, how many times do you say yes to life as opposed to saying no? Let me give you an example. You go home, you're exhausted, you've been really at it all day long, and your wife says, "Hey, there's new neighbors, let's take them out to dinner tonight." What's the first reaction do you think most people come up with? A yes or a no? Now, personally, I have found myself wanting to say no so many times, but I've learned how to turn these obstacles into opportunities. Someone comes up to you and says they have a bright idea at work. The last thing in the world you need is another idea, especially from this person that in the last 3 ideas weren't too bright. So what your tendency is to not listen. Your tendency is to kind of do something that gives them the impression that you're really not interested. Well, let me share this with you, why we're so prone to not want to move beyond where we currently are, because we have a belief that it's going to require more effort. I'm going to have to be nice with these new people. What if I don't like them? I have to listen to this guy and he bored me to tears the last time. Whatever the case may be, our brain is causing us to remember not what's possible, but what's already taken place, and that's why it's difficult to turn obstacles into opportunities. So let me back you up a little bit and let me let you know what happened. By the time a child is 10 years of age, they've heard over 20,000 no's and less than 2,000 yeses. Now, were all of those no's to make sure they were safe and productive? You know what we found out through the research? That most of them were to make sure that we as a parent didn't have to get uncomfortable. If somebody says, "Hey, Dad, you want to go out and play," and you're exhausted, it's real easy to say what? Well, not tonight. Because what are you saying to yourself? I'd rather not move. I'm kind of comfortable in this chair. Now, there's times, of course, where we go, yeah, what an opportunity to spend with our child. But now when we get at work or we get into environments where we're going to be asked to move out of our comfort zone, we're going to be asked to do something we haven't done before, guess what the programming is for us to not even have to think about yes or no? Absolutely, it's no. And what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to simply take a time out. And instead of already knowing what's going to be involved if you say yes, I'm going to ask you to say yes and then find out what's involved. And not only say yes, but add the following to it. And I'm going to find value in this. And you know what's so miraculous about this brain that we have? It's going to respond to any direction that we give it, whether it's good for us or not. So what I have found, if I give it positive instructions and direction, amazing things happen in my life. Now, I'm going to ask you if you're willing to try this. What's the automatic response? No. But I'm going to ask you to take the time out. I'm going to ask you to say yes. And I'm going to ask you to ask yourself, where's the opportunity for me and what am I going to value as a result of that? And then let your wonderful brain take the rest of that action for you so that you can arrive at a miraculous experience that you would have denied ordinarily. Now, if you found value in this, there's a link below where you can access our Brain Hack series, and also we have a lot of wonderful freebies that will give you the information necessary to be able to turn those no's into yeses. Thank you for taking the time, and I look forward to our next opportunity to meet.